live stream right now?
Feels strange not
Yeah,
to
we're
be there.
It's like something
massive.
It's all live.
Okay. All right, great.
Tell them the boom is number 16.
The boom is number 16. The boom is number 16.
It's a big joke with my band, so when I was on tour down south, the sound guy
You guys are
checking.
talking? Keep talking.
Test. 1, 2.
Southern.
You got it figured out?
Check it out. Is it good? Hey, good evening. My name is Rodrigo Schifino, and I welcome you back to the Occupy Wall Street live news TV show. We are now in our 11th hour of continuous broadcast, and with us tonight we have actually some pretty cool stuff. We have Parents for Occupy Wall Street, and with us we have Rivka Little, who's an Occupy parent and family organizer, and a member of the West Harlem 99%, of which I too am a member, and Kirby Desmarais, the founder of Parents for Occupy Parents for Occupy Wall Street. I'm tired.
11th hour.
Right, 11 hour. So, what exactly is Parents for Occupy Wall Street?
Well, it is an organization that we do outreach on behalf of the movement to educate parents that they can get involved and to give them opportunities, safe opportunities, and the knowledge that they need to get involved with the movement. So they just don't need to feel like they need to wait on the sidelines, so that they can actually get in the middle of it and get involved and have their concerns heard and just have the platform to be able to speak out.
And I assume you're involving the kids in everything you do and
everything.
Teaching how to be little rebels.
Yeah, I mean, we actually met. It's funny because we, I guess in September, the end of September. Yeah, on Columbus Day, we decided. I went to my kids' school and said, look, you can't teach politics, you can't teach history, you can't teach, so-called democracy if there's direct democracy happening downtown and you're not taking these kids to see it.
How old is your daughter?
My little one is 6 and my big one is 12.
And so the 12-year-old, I guess, old enough for social studies and stuff. Are they teaching Occupy at all? Do they even mention it?
So it's interesting. They go to 2 different schools. The little one goes to a very progressive school, and the bigger one goes to a supposedly progressive school. So the little one, when I went to them, they said, all right, sweet, let's go. And they said, better yet, you guys go on Columbus Day and, see what's going on. And then we did. We took the kids on Columbus Day. Kirby also took a group of kids on Columbus Day, and we all met down there. We didn't know each other at all.
Okay.
The same thing going on, though.
Right, and we
on
kept
opposite ends of the park.
Pictures of each other the next day in the newspaper, and I was like, I wasn't there with her. We had the same.
The names were swapped. It'd be my photo and her organization's name, or her photo, and it was opposite.
But the kids were doing sign making, and the kids were doing mic checks, and the kids were voting and doing little sort of mini GAs, and then the kids were watching the main GA. And we quickly figured out that this was really important. So my younger daughter's school got involved. My older daughter's school, doesn't get involved. And in fact, she had an experience in class where they were talking about protesters as terrorists. Or whether or not violence should be used, and does that make you a terrorist, and are occupiers violent? And she was just terrified. She didn't want to say anything. So she came home that night and she's like, are we terrorists? No.
Does she tell her friends that you're occupiers, or?
So after that day, I was like, you know what? You don't have to tell them, but the reason that we're doing this is so that you understand that in a democracy, you can speak your mind and make change and not be persecuted for it. So, choice, it's on you, but that's what we're teaching them.
How old is your child?
My daughter just turned 2.
Oh.
So she's not anywhere near the school age. But it's kind of funny because, we've been doing this for almost 7 months now, and she's so used to it. Like the
Right.
whole march, the first half of the day today, she just slept in her stroller the whole entire time. And she's very comfortable, and the kids have all become very, very close. It's really awesome to see the relationships between the children, because we go and we'll set up at playgrounds so they get to play for hours on end with one another, and it's really turned into a family and a community within the organization of like-minded people. It's great.
So you see a kid like running for student body president or something? I mean, is she interested like in the whole politics part of it, or the organizing?
So my older daughter is
Too cool?
she's a little bit too cool for it, but she is beginning to ask a lot of questions like, what does it mean to have fair work conditions, and what do unions ask for, and today she's like, so it's International Workers' Rights Day. Because I said, yes, this is a day without 99%. And yes, we are in the Occupy movement. But this day is not about Occupy. This day has a long history. Right. I told her about Haymarket. And so she said to me, like, what, where are we at with that? Do we still have unfair work conditions? And I said to her, yeah, I mean, if you look at the number of people who die in factories related to chemical spills and unsafe conditions, it's still there. And even your public school teachers have like huge classrooms, tiny budgets. We've lost teaching positions to attrition. We've lost teachers' aides. So
We've lost schools to charters.
We've lost schools,
and all
right,
that stuff.
And it's become a corporate, profit-making business schooling. So, she's definitely asking the right questions. I don't know what she'll do in terms of action, but I was somebody who didn't take action for years, too,
Right.
so it'll come.
So I know you kept them out of school today because I saw the most amazing letter that you wrote to the school. And would you tell our audience a little bit about your letter, which I thought was awesome.
So, I wrote a letter explaining why my kids weren't going to be in school today, and the letter, first of all, I stressed in the letter that we were not protesting against that school or any school, that we were protesting on behalf of the teachers and the staff, and I talked about budget cuts and, ballooning class size and shrinking programs, and said to them, it matters in middle school how many days you have absent, right? If you miss too many days and you can't get into high school. And I said, I hope that you do not mark her absent. It's fine if you do. We're one of the luckier families that we don't have tons of absences, but she will be immersed in change making and making of history and learning real democracy, which is when you can take to the streets and make change. And so I don't know what they'll do. I haven't gotten any real response.
Are there other kids in her school or other parents from her school who are involved, or is she like the only one pretty much?
Well, actually, so I ran into a couple parents out today, but they didn't have their kids, and we didn't know that the others were involved. But my little one goes to a school where there are lots of Occupy parents.
Right.
Lots and lots. And so it's got a long political history, that school.
So where do you see this whole thing going? I know that there's a video, not a video, but a documentary being done by you guys, correct?
Mm-hmm. No, not by us. It's
about you guys.
Yeah, Dana Glazer. He specifically makes documentaries about parenting.
Okay.
His last film was called Evolution of Dad, and it was a study about the changing role of fatherhood within relationships.
Uh-huh.
So, and how you have a lot more stay-at-home fathers now that more women are into the workplace. And his next film is Parent of the Revolution, and it's kind of exciting. He's been with us almost since the beginning, a couple weeks in. So he's really got the full experience of seeing the group just start from pretty much an idea and not really knowing what, like, I was never an activist before this. This is the first time I've ever been. No, I had to even...
No nukes, none of that stuff?
Nothing. I had to go through, I put myself through like a elementary and a high school history course when I got into all of this, because I needed to know, I needed to start from rock bottom. I was like, I knew that there was problems, and I know that how, particular things in my life, because of how this country runs, are difficult. Right. But I needed to educate myself when I really got into the nitty-gritty of this, of, okay, what are the exact problems and why, how can we change them? and I'd never been actually politically involved at all. I've never been an activist before this. But he got involved right at the beginning, so he got to see that whole, whole progression of the group becoming an idea, and then, people coming in and out, and the growing pains that we had, and the hurdles that we've faced, and how we've become close and getting to know one another. It's really great. I'm excited for the film to come out, and because maybe if people can see what we've done in the community that we've created, then they're going to do that in their communities, and it will grow. People will be inspired to make change for themselves.
So we have a clip. Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, what we're going to see here?
It's great. This is a clip of Myra and Shay Torito. They are from New Jersey. They are parents that have been, we met them the same day. On Columbus Day, they came down and they found us doing our things down in
I spoke to her
Zuccotti.
briefly at the Spring Awakening.
Yeah, it's her and her daughter. They've been in it since the beginning. They're a beautiful family, and they actually are very passionate about using the Occupy movement, because their children are older,
right,
about using it to teach their children about our democracy, and what they can do, and really helping them blossom as people. So that's really what this is about. It's the piece is, it's a lot about helping Shay overcome her shyness, which
teaching
is
her how
great.
to outreach in Central Park.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's check out this video.
Wow, you do it so much better. Well, it just... Excuse me? Do you want some free seats for Paris for Occupy Wall Street? We're just handing them out. Woo! Victory! Do you want free flower seats in Paris for Occupy Wall Street?
That was good, though.
Well,
you know why? Because that was really good, because it was so much clearer what you had to say. I could understand what you said.
We did it! I know it was really hard. I did it anyway. I feel like I just beat
This march seems to go on forever.
Kid Icarus did it, whatever.
It is really confusing to hear everyone yelling Occupy Wall Street as they walk past Wall Street. The announcement was to actually march on Wall Street, but the group did not do that.
What's going on with it? So when, I definitely feel like, our work is going to go on for many years. It's not over anytime soon. But I definitely feel like there's going to be some big peak at some point that's going to be the real whoa, of everything, and that will kind of be the peak of the film, I think. And so we're still kind of waiting for that. I mean, we started it out. We started the film out with the family sleepover that we had at Zuccotti Park, and we had over 500 people come out to that sleepover, and we had about 80 families spend the night overnight with their kids.
How big is your group now?
That's the thing. It's a very small core group of people. The organizers, there's probably about like 12 of us, like parent organizers, not including the kids, obviously, the parents. We do have subgroups. We've got 22 groups across the country now.
Really?
Yeah, California and Chicago are very active. Those two groups are San Diego and California and Chicago. Those two groups have got a lot going on for themselves. They do things all the time. They have a large membership also out that way. But what we found, it's just like any working group. It's always a handful of people that are in the center of organizing, and then if you throw the right event or you have the right thing happening, other people will come out. So we had the sleepover. We had 500 people come out. Today at the march this afternoon.
What did you guys do today?
People.
What was your?
We did
teaching.
Yeah, Rob, the father of Shay. He did a teach-in where he brought his students, and he had them do surveys around the park at Madison Square. It was Free University, and there were about 6 or 7 teach-ins going on at the same time. So we did that, and then we went up to Bryant and did Guitar Me, the guitar march down to...
It was huge.
We were live streaming. It looked gigantic.
It was huge.
And it took to the street.
Yeah, great. I mean, there was a little...
Any arrests? We haven't really heard if there are any arrests.
I didn't see anybody getting arrested.
I don't know. We know that mopeds drove at strollers. we didn't know exactly why that happened, but I mean...
Yeah.
How did cops act around the kids? Did they at least a little consideration there?
It was a bit of a turning point, I think. Usually they walk along with us. They'll protect us. They see the kids, and we carry yellow balloons, and we try to always identify ourselves to the police officers so that they know where we are to help keep the kids safe. We don't. A lot of people think that we just there's always this thing that people always say to us that we use our kids as shields, but we go in doing it very safe, and we position them safely in the parade. We try to, identify ourselves. But after M17, there's definitely been a shift in attitudes of how the cops are dealing with us. They're kind of don't care now, which is a little weird. And also on M17, CPS was out at the event taking notes on the organization. So we definitely think there's some...
CPS, Child Protective Services.
Yeah, there's something in the works. There has been a shift in attitude towards us as an organization with our children there. Even today, we got blockaded in at Union Square. They before the second march took off, we got stuck. They just barricaded everybody in. They weren't letting anybody march, even though it was a permitted march. They just trapped everybody in, and it was starting to get a little tense. So I started calling out for people to push us to the side, and all the protesters are always great. Everybody is so protective over the children. They're amazing. So they brought us to the side, and I had an officer, and I was like, "Can you let us out? Can you let the kids out?" Because we had multiple children with us. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna let you out. I'm not letting you out." And I was like, "Okay, what's your badge number?" Because I had a camera on my, I had a little camera on my face. So I took his badge number, and then I called the chief officer over and asked him, and the chief officer was really great. He got us out, but it was a bit of a struggle getting to that point. So there definitely has been a change after M17. It's
enough that are you concerned? I mean, you're not going to stop, obviously, I would guess.
We go back and forth all the time about how far we're willing to take it. I can honestly say we have not put our children in danger.
Right.
That is not something, and we have the documentary following us. Very comfortable. Everything is documented. We never put our children into danger. A march, specifically how we position the children in the march, it's like going to a street festival or a street fair in New York City. You go downtown during rush hour. It's super busy. It's the same exact thing with the foot traffic. So I'm not concerned in that way. I am concerned with what the city would try to pull, but everything is very carefully documented with us. So.
Yeah, I think that we've had some scary experiences. I personally have had a few scary experiences with police, and then I've also had some really amazing experiences where, one of the sort of funnier ones was when we did the sleep out in Zuccotti, this kid climbed the red statue and was like, I'm not coming down until, he's like, you know, the movement doesn't have demands, but I do, and I'm not coming down until he was having some issues. It was like 5 a.m. and the kids were all asleep. And my kids woke up, or my little one woke up and saw, and she's like, Mommy, is he gonna jump? And this cop leans over and he's like, I feel like you should go, or you're gonna be paying for therapy bills for years. It's like, you don't know this. I mean, they're like, you know, some of them are just kind of funny. And I said, I'm not, you know, I really don't want to go. And he's like, okay, no problem. And just, you know, some of them are fine. And then others, I mean, I was not with my kids, but with someone else's kids, and we were netted.
Okay.
And a friend of mine just lifted the net, and we ran, and they didn't stop us. Today we had mopeds drive into a stroller, you know, cops on mopeds, and then at the
Trayvon Martin march also, I stopped a moped from running a 4-year-old boy over. It wasn't my child, but the mopeds went right into the crowd, and he went
as soon as mopeds
right
show up, you know
the
it's trouble.
The thing is, the mopeds used to guide us. They used to see that we were there, and they would ride along with us and protect us. After M17 and the Trayvon Martin march was very, very close to that date. It was like maybe 2 weeks after that date. They didn't care. They just went into the crowd, and there were a lot of children in that march that had never marched before, that were, you know, part of separate organizations that were there, and it was really eye-opening, that march, of the change in attitude. So I'm very curious to know why there's been a change.
I mean, I think the bottom line for us is we will continue to be as safe as possible with our children. So from our perspective, we'll, you know, if we need to, we'll stay at the edges. When we have to be at the edges, we have a system in which if the police are coming for us, our kids know who to go with. You know, we sometimes, if we don't march directly with our partners, so my husband will march in a different part. Right. You know, and so if something were to happen, it would be us that was arrested and not the children. But I'm not convinced that the police or the city have intentions to not confront us. Right. And in the fall, I
mean, the PR alone would be
yeah. Well, that's I think where these T-shirts came from. It's like we used to not wear big yellow banana T-shirts, but
they're so flattering.
Fabulous. But I think that the deal is, if we get arrested and our shirts say "Parents for Occupy Wall Street," you know, we want people to know what's going on. Right. And also on another note, we want people to know that, like, Occupy Wall Street is not just young people, and it's not just, you know, wacko people, and it's
unemployed,
not just
stoned, hippie, whatever.
Exactly.
Right?
That, you know, we as parents and we as families are living out, you know, the worst of these problems that we're all talking about as a movement. And we're living it out every day. I mean, my kids have friends who have experienced gentrification firsthand and lost their homes. We've, you know, we are dealing with big class sizes. We're dealing with lost after-school programs. We're dealing with
stop and frisk in our neighborhood, right?
I mean, stop and frisk in our neighborhood is so incredible. My 12-year-old has friends who have demonstrated for me that they know exactly what to do when police stop them, and they're 12. And I was joking with my husband, like, these boys don't even know how to kiss a girl yet, and they know how to physically engage with a cop. It's disgusting. I mean, so I feel like us having these shirts on also, you know, sends out a message that we, as parents, as families, as people who are connected to parents associations and churches and temples and mosques, are here, and if we need to, we'll organize in numbers.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be intimidated. I mean, they didn't come out, the thing with CPS is they didn't come out saying, hey, CPS is here. Just happened to be that a social worker that was with us recognized the CPS person that was taking notes. So they're definitely doing it privately and quietly, whatever they have in the works.
I assume all of us, I mean, from being on his TV programs, I'm sure my name's in a file somewhere, and I mean, we've all.
I think we all are. I think we all are. It definitely is scary how they are pinpointing a lot of the organizers that are part of other working groups, because we haven't experienced that yet ourselves. But you know, when they go in and they cherry pick all of the main organizers and arrest all of them and leave everybody else, it's kind of that is worrisome for me. That's worrisome.
So you were saying you're in this for the long haul. what are the plans for the summer? What's coming up?
Well, I think we're kind of working on some stuff right now. There is going to be on July 4th in Philadelphia. There is going to be a big gathering, and I think that could possibly be one of the next things.
Are all the parent groups getting together?
Everything is still up in the air with the plans. There is a couple things that are happening mid-May also. So, but it's going to hopefully be leading up to the July 4th. We're going to personally have a Parents for Occupy national call out for everybody to come to Philadelphia and meet up.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's also a week of actions coming up next week. Is it next week?
Here in New York?
Yeah. 5 days of actions, I think starting on Monday. And it's each day is a different topic. So education, stop and frisk is the Mother's Day is stop and frisk / police brutality / war / immigration. But I think the running theme is if you've lost your kid to this problem, you should come out. So, or if you've not been able to parent your kid because you've been incarcerated. So that's a big Sunday action. The Monday action is an education, anti-charter school action.
Yeah, you guys, I would assume you're heavily involved in that whole, like the Harlem Academy, Success Academy and all of that kind of.
We
charter
kind of,
schools?
We have heavy opinions about it.
we're kind of, there are organizations like the Occupy DOE, and there are, groups within that have specific points. We more work as a platform to let parents in and get them in okay. And what we've seen is that parents will come in and they'll get involved with us, and then they'll find where their interest lays, and it gives the confidence. I know personally, like I'm getting involved with Occupy Red Hook now. I have the confidence to go out there and do that because of the work that we've done. If I would have just come into this movement and like just showed up at an Occupy Red Hook meeting, I wouldn't have been able to speak up. I wouldn't have felt confident. I wouldn't even understood, what does this mean? Like, I wouldn't.
Kids must love that, right?
I wouldn't have.
They like the Stankles.
I wouldn't have known. So we more are working as the platform and the gateway to help parents get involved and organizing around the events to have child safe zones for them.
And if, say, parents do want to get involved, how do they get in touch with you guys? How do they?
They can go to the website. It's parentsforoccupywallstreet.com. We have a listserv that we use. That's most of our planning and most of our organizing goes through the listserv, and you can access that on the website.
Yep, and Pals New York on Facebook. Hit us up on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We've got a really active page.
Pals New York?
Parents for Occupy Wall Street, New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there was something about this 99 cents.
There's a 99% school. That's how our group started, and there's still a website, 99% school. I think .blogspot.com .blogger.com. So it's there. There's also a Facebook page, 99% school.
So I assume we'll be seeing you kids all around all summer long.
Yep, not getting rid of us.
Yellow shirts and all.
We'd love to have you guys come up. Like we said, we do our weekly show. We'd like to have you guys come up and we'll do something.
Some of the kids on.
Yeah, we'd love to have the kids.
Yeah.
Where are you kids?
I sent them home with.
Yeah, they're home with dads. We're done.
Dad's on duty.
All right. I would like to thank you both very much for coming up here.
Thank you.
I love what you guys are doing. I think it's so important what you guys are doing.
We love what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Occupy.
Occupy your mind.
Occupy your kids.